Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Today is day 14 of Inktober, and I am here with Monet. She came up to visit again today, so she'll be here drawing with me. If you hear any chewing, it's her probably giving me a haircut like she is right now. Today is a absolutely beautiful pattern. It was my first time using this one by Susan Yu, and it's called Concern, and I haven't read about it where it was influenced by. However, for me, it reminds me of the Greek architecture, if you've ever visited in the Greek islands. Regardless, though, it's absolutely beautiful. So we're going to get started. I'm going to demonstrate on a bijou, and then I'm going to move back to my art journal where I am taking a very different approach, using paints and paint marker and water soluble crayons. So that is the path that I'm continuing on this journey with. All right, I'll see you on the other side. Welcome back to day 14. And I picked up a very large Pigma. This is an 08. You can see how large it drew on my bijou. I'm going to switch to an 03 instead. And I'm going to put my glasses on because then I will not pick up the wrong supplies. All right, so here we go. Let's do a little practice before we get started. So I haven't done this one that many times yet because it is new to me. It's by Susan Yu. All right, so this actually is set up in a grid. So I'm lightly in a pencil going to draw a 4-square grid, but you can have as many squares as you would like. And in each of these squares, I'm going to start a little bit to the left of center-ish, and I'm going to draw a vertical line. And let me just adjust this light. It got a little bit brighter in here. And I'm going to have a diagonal coming up to the right-hand side. So notice that it's not the corner, though. It's the right-hand side drop down a little bit from the corner. So I'm going to do that in each of these. And it's hand-drawn, so my squares are not perfect, so everything won't be exactly the same, and that will be fine. At the top of each of these, I'm going to start here. I'm going to touch the top and come to the corner to create a little curve shape. So we're going to come up and curve, up and curve. So that curve is hitting the grid line. It's hitting the grid line. And the inside, I'm going to make an upside down U shape. And then from here, I'm going to go to this corner and I'm going to make a diagonal that comes up like that. And then I'm going to, I'll show you in a full one actually, I'll go back to that one. So these 2 points are going to touch. And then this arch is going to curve down. So here I can only see part of it. I'm only going to see that little arch. So these 2 diagonals will connect. This will come down and connect. So diagonal, and this will just be a portion of it. And of course, you could ink it in if you wanted to. You could add a little weighting back here. You could, if you're drawing with pen and you have a finer tool than what I'm going to be using, you could add a little tapered line. And to me, it looks like a door. I love this. I think this is so beautiful, and I'm excited to get started on my good copy here. So this is my journal. This is what I am working in right now. It's really nice paper. It's thick for multimedia. And I've been using paint markers, and I have been using the Neo Color 2, which are water soluble. I've been using some water with it sometimes, but a lot of the time I'm using it dry. So this is the section I'm going to work in. And since it is a grid, I don't want to just draw it freehand. I do have a pretty small area. It looks pretty big, but since I'm using chunky tools, I don't want to draw this grid too small. I picked up a white charcoal so that way I can easily go over it. I feel like pencil will stand out too much. So I'm going to go in and draw large squares, square-ish shape. Some of these a little bit more rectangular. in this petal. All right, so there I go. To start, I'm going to start with the Posca marker, and I'm trying to decide what color I want. If I want to start with an orange or a red. This background part is a lighter pink color, so I'm not going to go with one of my lighter choices. I want to go with one of these darker ones that I have here. I don't personally love the red as much. It's a little bit too bright for me, but I do need to, since I started with this, have some type of a balance. So I am leaning I don't know, leaning, maybe I'll use that for part of the door. So, okay, I've decided. I'm going to take my orange. You can see that I really am just going with the flow with this and nothing is pre-planned here. So I'm going to start with that line and then the diagonal, and I'm going to have to do a lot of kind of imagining where with this if something is going off of or out of the petal. Okay. So that's my first part. And then I'm going to go in and I'm going to start up here and I'm going to touch the top to make that curve. This one, I don't think would have one. This one does. Okay. And I'm going to kind of toggle back and forth between the red. I'm going to make the door, or I'm calling it a door, I don't know if it is, red. You hear Monet in the background. She wants to be the star of the show. All right, so once that is in, now I'm going to connect these diagonals and then bring that curve around. So connect these corners and bring the curve around, connect the corners and bring that curve around. And this looks like in here, I would have had another red line there for part of the door. Okay, I think I can take the red and add a little tapered line. I have enough space, so I'm gonna go in and do that on those. All right, so that is my marker part. And if you're shading with graphite, this is gonna look fabulous. It's gonna really have great dimension, and you can even, I think, would have like a shadow down where this white line is on to the right would look spectacular. I'm going to I'm gonna pick up the red. Actually, no, I'm going to do with orange, the orange Neo color. And I'm going to add a little bit of orange in the background space that is above up here. And I don't know, I'm conflicted whether or not, oh, I know what I did. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my orange because I did forget a line. And I'm going to, from the bottom, come down and make a diagonal. I didn't do that on my bijou. My apologies. And from the door, I will also do a diagonal. So that way it all becomes one. Okay, so I put some orange Neo color. I'm going to switch to the lighter orange now. That's really it for the background because all of the pattern is merging together. And I've been outlining these sections yellow. So I'm going to go in and stay consistent at this point. I only have a few more petals left. I'm not going to change that. I want it to be uniformed. So I'll go in and do that. I'll move back to the darker orange and I will, behind these tops here, add a little bit of orange. And on the little dome curved parts. I'm going to add some yellow. I'm going to take this lighter orange and add some on the right side of this wall or section here. And I do feel like maybe I want to add a little bit of water to this in a minute. And add a little orange along this top diagonal. So I'm going to take my water brush. I have one today that's filled with water, and I'm going to move around some of this color. And as my brush gets dirty, I can wipe it off on a paper towel, or I have that off of my screen right now. And this is just making my colors blend a little bit more since this is a large area. I'm not going to do it on the top, so I'm going to leave it more of a scratchy look on that dome part. If you want a smooth look, go into the dome part as well. And I'm looking back at this one, and I'm going to go back in, and again, everything, as things start to come together, you're going to play around a little bit more. You can change things. And I feel like I just want to go in and make that back part a little bit smoother. So I have a balance between smooth and more of a rough texture. So what's missing from this one that it does not have compared to the others is the white. So I have a Posca white marker, paint marker here. And I am going to add a few little highlights. I'll add on the rooftop. I keep calling them roofs. And perhaps maybe it's a little bit wet still, so you would want to wait for it to dry, but I'm going to add a little line here. I think that's it. I don't really want to add too much. So that's going to be it for day 14. All right, guys, that's it for day 14. Monet wanted to say goodbye to everybody. She's always such a good helper and such a good little companion in the art studio. So we'll see you again soon. Okay, hope everybody is doing something fun and creative today with their time, even if it's for 10 minutes. That's perfect.